On the 8th time, Zachary casually suggested having Nora as a bridesmaid at our wedding. I smiled and agreed. Nora stuck to Zachary like a human charm bracelet, accompanying us everywhere. She even showed up on the day of my wedding dress fitting, tugging at Zachary's sleeve. She pouted. "Professor Reed, can I wear this dress for the bridesmaid outfit?" Though Zachary claimed we should respect my opinion, he indulged her request anyway. I gazed at the ornate bridesmaid gown she'd chosen, more extravagant than my own wedding dress, and replied gently, "Of course, Nora. You'll look stunning in that. After all, I wouldn't be the protagonist of this wedding anyway." 3 days remained before my departure for graduate studies abroad. Zachary had been our family's scholarship student back when the Quinns still had wealth. We'd funded his education through his PhD and financed his research team. The small-town overachiever turned Ivy League professor became everyone's golden boy, the crown jewel of my father's investments. After our family's bankruptcy, he'd honorably proposed to secure my future. But we both knew this marriage was merely deathbed obligation, my parents' final manipulation binding him through guilt. He drunkenly lamented this gilded cage countless times, yet soberly played the devoted fiancé in public, vowing to be my lifelong protector. Through the dressing room door, Nora's saccharine voice carried, "You don't think Sylvia will mind? My dress might outshine hers." Zachary's warm chuckle followed. "Nonsense. You look beautiful. Sylvia's too gracious for petty jealousy." In the mirror, my reflection seemed faded despite the ivory gown. Joyless marriages breed joyless brides. As the attendant helped remove my dress, she asked, "Won't you show Mr. Reed?" No need. His indifference had long ceased to wound me. Outside, Nora pretended to adjust her snug bodice while Zachary teased, "Maybe lay off the lab snacks? Your fellow researcher complained about finding potato chip crumbs in the mass spec." "Liar!" She stamped her foot. "I've lost weight. Feel my waist." Their flirtation unfolded like a rom-com, store staff shooting me pitying glances. When I emerged, Zachary finally noticed me. "Done already? I'll take the first dress." "Excuse me." Nora rushed over. "Sylvia. I'm sorry if I..." Zachary cut her off. "Apologize for what?" He glared at me. "You've been so cold lately. If I'd yield." As if I hadn't spent years bending until breaking. He'd forgotten we'd graduated from MIT together, before family tragedy reduced me to a charity case. For 5 years, I'd managed his household as fiancé, watching him transform from grateful ward to celebrated academic superstar. The realization came gradually, each casual mention of his vivacious new research assistant, each insistence on including Nora in wedding plans. When my father transferred company control to Zachary with his dying breath, we'd all become trapped in this gilded farce. Now, watching Nora's glittering gown catch the light, I understood true partnership could never flourish where obligation choked affection. My bridal radiance dimmed not from any dress, but from the crushing weight of transactional love. Zachary Reed didn't want to be seen as ungrateful, so he reluctantly honored the engagement. But ultimately, such indebtedness couldn't last. After returning home from the wedding dress fitting, Zachary threw a massive tantrum, accusing me of mistreating Nora. "If you didn't want Nora as your bridesmaid, you should have said so instead of making things difficult for her." I silently packed my belongings as Zachary kept ranting. He didn't even notice half the closet was empty when he stormed out, slamming the door. This marital home held shockingly few traces of me, 2 suitcases sufficed. Checking my phone again, I confirmed the preparatory courses emailed by the German research team's professor. 3 days remained before I'd escape this prison of 5 years. Zachary stayed out all night. Nora's social media post showed them in the lab with the caption, "Midnight paper revisions? Classic Professor Reed?" A lab member commented, "Isn't the professor getting married soon?" Nora replied, "What does that change?" I chuckled and went to sleep. The next morning, I visited my parents' graves. Kneeling before their tombstones, I kowtowed 3 times. Forgive your unfilial daughter, I whispered, tracing my mother's gentle smile in the monochrome photo. Her dying hesitation haunted me, so many regrets leaving me alone. By 9 p.m., I returned from shopping for overseas essentials to an empty apartment. Zachary answered my call impatiently. It's Nora's birthday. I'm staying out. I almost asked if he remembered my parents' death anniversary. Instead, I smiled, wish her happy birthday from me. He exploded, Sylvia, you're really this indifferent now? Plenty of women would kill to become Mrs. Reed. I laughed bitterly. For 5 years, I dreamed of marrying him. Yet when the moment arrived, I recoiled. I couldn't endure 50 more years of this. Nora's dorm lost power. I'm staying here tonight. Enjoy yourself. I hung up. Midnight screams woke me. The drunk upstairs neighbor was beating his wife again. No police sirens came. Grabbing a kitchen knife, I charged upstairs. The stench of alcohol hit as the man snarled, "What's your problem, bitch?" Calmly raising the blade, I hissed, "Hit her again. I dare you." My manic glare sobered him. "Crazy psycho. You'd actually kill me?" Behind him, his wife cowered until our eyes met. Sudden resolve flashed through her tears as he raised his fist. Then she swung a baseball bat at his spine. The man groaned in pain and collapsed to his knees. Police officers arrived moments later and swiftly subdued him. We were taken to the station for questioning. During processing, an officer asked if I wanted to notify any family members. "No need. I don't have any," I replied. Zachary showed up around 5 a.m. after the property manager informed him about my detainment. He stormed into the precinct visibly irritated, confronting me with harsh accusations. "Why do you have to meddle in other people's business? No other neighbor would stick their nose into a couple's private quarrel like this. We're getting married next week, can't you just behave normally for once?" "I won't interfere again," I said flatly. His tone softened when he noticed the cuts on my hands. "Let me take you to urgent care. These are just scratches." Outside the station, Nora sat in his passenger seat amidst leftover birthday decorations. I turned toward the curb to hail a taxi. Zachary grabbed my arm. "What's your problem now?" Exhaustion suddenly washed over me. "Zachary, I haven't slept. Let me go home." With only 24 hours left before leaving the city permanently, I refused to waste energy on toxic people and pointless drama. Nora emerged from the car, her voice sugary. "Professor Reed, maybe Sylvia should take a cab. We need to prepare for the academic forum." Zachary's brow furrowed almost imperceptibly as I slid into an arriving taxi. Back home, I found multiple missed calls from Zachary and a message, "Dinner tonight, we'll talk." The wedding planners group chat buzzed with final confirmation for tomorrow's ceremony. I mechanically replied approved before storing my unworn wedding gown in the closet. He never showed up for dinner. By midnight, I grabbed my suitcase and headed to the airport. A battered sedan pulled up as I waited for my ride. The driver's window revealed Lynn's bruised face, the abused woman from upstairs. Traffic's gridlocked on Nanhua Road. "You'll wait an hour for cabs," she said, eyeing my luggage. "Airport?" After loading my suitcase, she maneuvered through back streets with professional precision, reaching the terminal in 60 minutes. As we parted, she hugged me tightly. "I'm Lynn," she whispered. "Used to be the top rally racer. If you hadn't intervened last night, well, let's just say neither of us belongs in that hellhole." 8 hours later, my phone lit up with Zachary's furious call upon landing in Germany. "Where the hell are you? The wedding cars are waiting. Our guests." Nora's simpering voice cut through. "How irresponsible of Sylvia. Professor Reed, let me handle it?" I interrupted. "Since you're already wearing a dress grander than the bride's, why don't you marry him yourself?" "Zachary, we're done. The line went silent for 3 seconds before Zachary's furious voice erupted. Sylvia! Are you fucking kidding me? In that moment, I felt no vengeful satisfaction, only quiet resolve. Sylvia! Say something. What the hell was our 5 years together worth? Zachary, the polished academic who rarely swore, sounded genuinely unhinged. I hung up and snapped my SIM card. New country. New life. New Sylvia. Those 3 years pursuing my PhD in Germany became the most transformative of my life. During my studies, Zachary used every connection to track down my address. On Christmas Eve, he waited outside my dorm clutching flowers as snow dusted his thin suit jacket. It reminded me of that winter years ago when he'd stood shivering in a threadbare coat outside my father's house, begging for research funding. Zachary was a consummate opportunist, success always trumped everything. Now that I'd slipped his control, he'd started seeing me as someone worth reevaluating. My roommate peered through the blinds. Aren't you going down? He's been there all day. I kept editing my thesis. He'll leave once he gets tired of the act. Zachary stayed 3 days, leveraging his network to ingratiate himself with my advisors and peers. Soon, everyone knew about my wealthy admirer. I neither encouraged nor rejected him if he wanted to spend resources easing my path. Whether from guilt or calculation, I'd take it. During my 2nd year, Lynn mailed me a gift along with news. Zachary had moved in with Nora. They'd been spotted around their neighborhood like newlyweds. Nora dropped out of grad school to avoid gossip, the dumbest decision she'd ever make. Lynn's attached photo showed Nora beaming, arm linked with Zachary's. She traded her future for this delusion of love. The irony? A month prior, Zachary flew to Germany for my birthday with cake and a luxury laptop. I trashed the dessert but kept the computer, practicality over sentiment. My roommate shook her head. How can you ice out someone that successful and gorgeous? I scrolled through Nora's social media. Her latest post featured a home-cooked feast captioned "Waiting for my Professor Reed." Zachary appeared in her photos occasionally, always mid-eye roll. By year 3, Zachary's visits dwindled. Lynn reported Nora's pregnancy and meltdowns over his refusal to marry her. Nightly screaming matches drew social services mediators, jeopardizing Zachary's tenure bid. One midnight, he called drunk, "Sylvia, I miss you. God, I miss you. Regret." Finally, Nora had become paranoid and volatile, but Zachary never questioned why. I remembered my mother's dying smile, believing she'd secured my future by tying me to this man. She never grasped that betting your life on someone else is reckless gambling. The only safe wager is yourself. In my 5th year, with dissertation drafts complete, I declined my advisor's offer to stay. My roommate teased, "Going back for that professor?" I nodded with a smile. Of course. I decided to go back because of Zachary Reed. After all, my parents' company was still in his hands. I still held half of the shares in that biotech company. It was the dowry my parents left me. Over the years, Zachary had run the company well, and I should thank him for that. On the day I returned to China, Lynn Lambert came to the airport to pick me up. Just like 5 years ago. She sent me off at the airport and said that neither of us should be trapped here. She had cut her hair short and was wearing a cool racing suit. There was a souvenir from her rally championship hanging from the rearview mirror of the car. In these 5 years, she had successfully divorced and fulfilled her dream from her youth. Someone sent me a sum of money last year to help me buy this car. I gently stroked her championship souvenir. Really? That's really lucky. She turned to look at me, and we smiled at each other. I've rented an apartment for you. You can just move in. Thanks. The apartment was in a nice environment, spacious and bright, and very close to Jiang University. Lynn stood on the balcony and handed me a can of beer. What are your plans next? I thought for a while and decided to accept the offer from Jiang University. Being a university teacher would be the best background for me. I wanted to take back my parents' company and kick Zachary out completely. She clinked her beer can with mine. We'll all get what we want. At the age of 35, I joined Jiang University. On the first day, the person in charge of the teaching affairs office led me into the office. When Zachary saw me, he panicked. He knocked over the water cup on the table in a hurry. While trying to wipe it up, he accidentally knocked over the chair. At the welcome dinner that night, Zachary was distracted and kept looking at me. After the dinner, he blocked me in the underground garage and questioned me with red eyes. "Sylvia, you have feelings for me, right? Otherwise, you wouldn't have come back for me." He grabbed my arm, eager for an answer. "Sylvia, I can't figure it out. I really can't understand why you left before our wedding. Do you know how painful these years have been for me?" Painful? He and Nora Summers even had a child. Could he still claim to be in pain? I leaned closer to him. Zachary's pupils dilated suddenly. He looked at me at a loss and swallowed nervously. "Zachary, if you can't figure it out, just go to hell." After saying that, I shook off his hand. Just then, I saw Nora coming with the baby to check up on him. As soon as she saw me, her emotions broke down. "Sylvia, so many years have passed. Why can't you just let Zachary go? You were the one who abandoned him first. And now you're shamelessly coming back to pester him." Nora had changed a lot. She was only 28. But the exhaustion in her eyes made her look much older than her age. The baby in her arms kept crying. She tried to soothe it until she was completely exhausted and finally collapsed on the ground, crying hysterically. "You're all bullying me. You'll get what you deserve. Sylvia." I looked at her coldly. Nora would never understand that stealing a man was the most meaningless thing in the world. What a woman should really do is compete with men for opportunities. And that was the real reason I came back. Zachary impatiently pulled her up from the ground. "You're dressing sloppily and now acting like a shrew. What on earth do you want?" Nora glared at him. "You lied to me, saying you were working overtime, just to meet your old flame, right? Zachary, don't you remember? You said you liked kids. And I almost lost my life giving birth to the baby. I even gave up my studies for you. I did all this for you. You ungrateful bastard." Nora brought up all the things from the past one by one because they were all her sunk costs. She had given up too much for a man. But she forgot the most important thing. Sunk costs should not be considered in major decisions. Everything she had sacrificed shouldn't become an obstacle to rational decision-making. Zachary, a self-made man from humble beginnings, detested any mention of his past. He roared at Nora to shut up. "If you feel wronged, get out immediately. Take the kid, I don't want them." The moment those words left his mouth, Nora froze. "Zachary, are you even human?" she spat, before suddenly turning her fury toward me. "Sylvia, this is all your fault. Everything was perfect before you returned. Now there's chaos everywhere. You deliberately came back to ruin my marriage because you can't stand seeing me happy." I stepped closer, palms raised. "Is that really true, Nora? Were you genuinely happy before I came back?" The tensions between her and Zachary had existed long before my arrival. My presence simply gave her an excuse to vent. Brushing a stray hair from her temple, I murmured, "You shouldn't have chosen that bridesmaid dress that day. If you never understood your place from the beginning, don't blame others for not valuing you." The barb struck a nerve. From that day forward, Nora began haunting campus daily. She'd linger outside lecture halls with their child, introducing herself to Zachary's students as Mrs. Reed, flaunting her marital status under their awkward stares. She crashed lab meetings uninvited, obsessively checked Zachary's phone logs, and policed his every interaction. Zachary's polished professor persona finally shattered during an office meltdown where he screamed obscenities. startling the wailing infant in Nora's arms. "I just want legitimacy," she pleaded, realizing emotional bonds had failed and now clung to legal ones. When the dean forced Zachary to take a 2-month leave to resolve his domestic crisis, I swiftly maneuvered to assume control of his research team. My family's corporate funding and parallel academic credentials made the transition seamless. While Nora spent those months threatening suicide to force a wedding, I dangled guaranteed high salaries, 5-year stock options, and R&D budgets that made Zachary's vague promises look laughable. By his return, even his most loyal protégés avoided eye contact. During a strategically unannounced Friday team dinner, I waited until Zachary barged into the private dining room before texting Nora our location. She arrived within minutes, child in tow. "Professor Reed." I smiled, swirling my wine. How nostalgic to reunite like this, though bringing family seems unconventional. Zachary flushed crimson. "Nora, take the baby home. I'll handle this." "Interrupting your little reunion, am I?" she sneered. His remaining composure snapped. "Get a job if you're so bored. Stop manufacturing drama." The students pretended not to eavesdrop as Nora shrieked. "You promised to provide for me when I bore your child." I intervened soothingly. "Don't be harsh, Zachary. She's just devoted. Why don't you focus on your family? The research team is in capable hands." Our locked gazes confirmed what we both knew: the game had been decided long before this theatric showdown. "Sylvia, you've really changed so much." "Of course I've changed." The Quinn family spent 15 years grooming Zachary, intending for him to serve my purposes. It just took me 5 full years to grasp this truth. In this game, I'm the protagonist, whether it's Zachary or Nora. They're merely NPCs on my path to victory. The private dining room crackled with tension as Zachary stormed out, abandoning Nora and their child. I settled the bill before guiding the trembling young mother to an adjacent lounge. "There are ways to keep Zachary by your side forever," I said, watching her clutch the infant tighter. "His power and wealth make him dismiss you now. But strip away that prestige, suddenly he'd become just another mediocre man desperate to play devoted husband and father." Nora's eyes flickered with understanding, though hesitation lingered. "Your previous tantrums only irritated him without touching his core interests," I continued, kneeling to meet her gaze. "You know what needs to be done, don't you?" 1 week later, an anonymous report letter landed at River City's Education Bureau. The meticulously documented allegations against Zachary, tenured biology associate professor, included fathering illegitimate children, embezzling research funds, and withholding student stipends. Even the department chair's protection couldn't prevent his termination. Any future academic employment would be strictly contractual. While Zachary spiraled into self-pity, Nora bloomed. She resumed her role as doting homemaker, flooding social media with domestic bliss. Meanwhile, I absorbed Zachary's research team and funding. Between high-profile conferences and corporate networking, I scarcely noticed when Lynn mentioned Zachary had sold his downtown penthouse. He should realize by now who orchestrated his downfall, I murmured, examining a centrifuged blood sample's perfect stratification. The lab door hissed open on the semester's final day, revealing a gaunt Zachary with bloodshot eyes. "Enjoying your revenge, Sylvia?" "Revenge?" I powered down the humming equipment. "Success provides far sweeter satisfaction." His jaw tightened. "Everything you have, you stole from me. We both know whose inheritance this truly is." My smile remained serene. "The Quinns groomed you as their golden boy, funded your education, built your company. For 15 years, we treated you as family. Yet you never acknowledged these debts, not even during those 5 years I played the dutiful fiancé." Zachary's composure shattered. "You can't kick me off the board. I built this empire from your family's ruins. Your father begged me to salvage it." "How forgetful of me," I tooted. We stopped inviting you to shareholder meetings months ago. Sold the penthouse already? Pity, that was the last shred of Quinn generosity you'll ever see. His palm cracked across my face before the words fully landed. The sting barely registered as I smiled through reddening skin. Every stock share, every stock option in his name, designed to evaporate upon resignation. The mortgage had drained his professor's salary and dividends dry. His trembling fist hovered midair as security swarmed in. Check the contract your father signed. Zachary. I dabbed my lip with a tissue. The metallic tang of victory sharper than blood. You never truly owned anything. A sharp slap echoed through the air. I didn't flinch, letting the corner of my mouth bleed. Zachary. I said calmly. You should have known better when you chose to be a gold digger. The Reed family owed the Quinns gratitude, not this pathetic affair with Nora behind my back. My laugh held no warmth. Pitiful. Really. Nearly 40 and still a failure. His hands closed around my throat. Spittle flying as he screamed vicious bitch. We struggled until I smashed the laboratory glassware, driving a shard into his hand while triggering the fire alarm. Zachary fled like a cornered rat, leaving bloody smears on the floor. The burglar took my Van Cleef and Arpels bracelet. I told arriving officers, displaying my bleeding palm. Breaking and entering. Assault. Robbery. The security cameras caught his hands around my throat, though not how I'd slipped the bracelet into his coat during our struggle. My injuries were minor, but I milked them for all they were worth. Crime scene photos. Hospital documentation. Every step calculated to destroy him in the court of public opinion. They arrested him next morning. When police produced the bracelet from Zachary's pocket, his shocked expression almost made me laugh. I hired Jiangqing's top attorney with one instruction: life sentence. During his detention, Nora showed up at my office clutching their bastard child, begging for mercy. The once vibrant college girl had shriveled into a bitter hag. Drop the charges? Pray your brat sees him before graduating high school. I sneered. Her screeching attack ended with security dragging her away. At the pre-trial visit, Zachary rattled jail bars like an animal. Why? He demanded. I showed my bandaged wrist. Learned from the best. You wanted me dead in that lab. His laughter turned unhinged. Your family treated me like a dog. Trained me to lick your boots. Then you should have stayed obedient. I countered. Outside the prison, Lynn leaned against her racing car. Perfect timing. She grinned. At the track. Her vehicle carved dust clouds until screeching to a halt beside giant SQ decals, my initials. She never knew those racing scholarships came from my grad school stipends. Gratitudes for fools. I simply helped another woman as a fellow female. That's all. In my 5th year of taking over the company, I've become the undisputed top player in the industry. Our annual profits could sustain a comfortable lifestyle for multiple lifetimes. Every year, I allocate 10% of the profits to fund education for underprivileged girls. Most from impoverished mountain regions. Some are elder sisters. Some younger siblings. Some healthy abandoned infants. Others little angels born with disabilities who narrowly escaped tragic fates. I make it my mission to tell every wide-eyed girl trapped in poverty, don't wait for rescue. Climb upward again and again. Be your own savior from life's flames.